Hi beautiful people, welcome to Kate's Space. I'm Kate from Pixie Designs, and today I'm going to do the cover for one of my Junk Journal July No Sew Accordion Journals that we made the other day. So these are made largely with scraps as part of my Use Up Your Scraps series. I've got two here. I'm not sure which one I'm going to use for Junk Journal July. I like them both. I also have to decide which is going to be the front and which is not going to be the front, and which is going to be the other front, if you like. Anyway, so I've decided I want to do a little bit of a mixed media cover based loosely on something that I did a long time ago. So certainly not as elaborate as this, but just kind of that sort of idea. So I'll do the first bit and then I'll have to let it dry because I'm going to use crackle paste, and you cannot let that you can't let that dry with a gun. You have to let it dry naturally. So right, so the first thing I want to do is I'm just going to put gesso on my cover. How is everybody today? I hope you're all well. This doesn't need to be very neat. It's just to put a base down, and I don't even know if I need it really, to be honest, but it's like a primer, so for everything else it might be a good thing to have this down here. We are good. We have just had a huge night. We've had a severe weather warning yesterday, and it was really stormy and the seas were getting bigger and bigger, and then by the evening they were saying, right, the sea is going to come up over at high tide over the banks. So high tide last night was about 8, but then they said, oh no, midnight, between 9 and midnight it's going to be the worst. So we sort of stayed up, and David did several trips down to the beach and along. The pumps were working down at the end of the road that helped take the water from the estuaries out to the river and out to the sea. So they were working, so that was good. And there certainly wasn't a lot of water around. It was windy and raining, and the sea was absolutely pounding. So yeah, we got to bed late, and I did not sleep well at all, and I don't think David did either. Right, I'm just going to go and dry this. I'll be right back. So that's dried. I mean, it's just to give it a primer, a base. And then we were woken by a huge loud banging on our door at about 4:30 this morning. And it was the police. And they were going door to door in Homewana, which is the suburb that we live in. It's just a little village, coastal village. Just saying that they were advising evacuation because, you know, things were getting pretty bad. The sea was breaching, and high tide was at 8 in the morning, and they were expecting it to get worse. So they said we could go and stay with friends and family, but you know, we've got 2 dogs, and by the time we've sorted them out, and you just leave your cats behind, you know, it's just anyway. So we decided we would stay put, and so did our neighbour and then the next one over as well, because we were warm and dry. There was power. It wasn't like last year when there was no power. I mean, even then we stayed. We didn't really have anywhere to go. So yeah, we did that, and David went back down to have a look. Then we tried to get some more sleep, and then the civil emergency alarm went off on our phones at about 6:30. So yeah, it was a bit of a crazy night, and we just basically watched as the tide, you know, came in, and I'll show you some of the video footage now. It never looks as sort of wild, I reckon, on video or camera, especially on the phone, but yeah, it was pretty massive. So yeah, it was pretty impressive, but we are flooded down the back of our property, and you know, we live on the coast and we live on a real wild beach, so it's kind of to be expected. It doesn't concern me overly. But yeah, I was worried about my studio because that's what got flooded last time, but no, the water's nowhere near here, so I feel like we're all good. So yeah, the tide's been in and gone out again, and there's a digger up on the beach sort of trying to reposition the stones and fill in the holes that the sea's made with its huge surf. And it's still blowing a gale and it's still raining, so we'll just see what the day holds, but I think the worst is over. So I thought I'd come down and do this, but I think I might have to have a nap later because I'm feeling so tired, as you can imagine. So right now I'm just putting this, I guess it's a little bit like calico or muslin, as you'd call it. It's actually off the back of a curtain, an old curtain, so it's lovely and soft. I was going to use, this is actually calico, but this is much softer, so I decided I wanted to use this. So this is going down next. There's no real reason. I guess it's just for some texture. I am not a mixed media expert, as those of you who've watched me before will know. This is, I just learn as I go. I've seen some people do stuff and then I just kind of have a go. So this certainly, I'm not teaching anything, but yeah, anything that I do sort of think works, I'm happy to sort of let you know. So there we go, we've got this kind of textured base with these fluffy bits out the side. So loving that. And then I'm actually going to paint on here. So I'm going to paint it with some acrylic paint. Now normally I would do all this on my glass mat, but the glass mat's really not that great for filming on. It just is such a glare, so I'm not doing that. I'm just doing it on this brown paper, which is fine. And then, like I said, once we've got this down, and we'll probably dry this paint, and then we'll put our texture paste on. And then, so the crackle paste, and then that needs to be left to dry. So I'm going to be quite generous with my paint. And I'm just going to squidge it on here. So I haven't done anything like this for a long time. I certainly haven't done a mixed media cover and a mini in a long time. But it's lots of fun to play with all these things. I don't have a lot of mixed media stuff. I've got a bit because I got a little bit into it with my scrapbooking at one point and bought some stuff. But yeah, I'm not a, I think you need so much stuff. Like, look how much is on here, you know, these molds, this frame, all these flowers. You know, there's the crackle paste and, you know, the stamping and embossing and everything. So it uses a lot of products, and I've got a few of those. Like, I've got the embossing stuff, and I've got a few, I mean, I've got those molds, but I just never really use them, and I'm not gonna make them just for this cover. But anyway, it's fun. It's gonna be bulky, chunky. But the whole journal probably will end up being chunky. If you know my style and how I work in a journal, I tend to add lots of layers, and I put photos in, and so yeah, so we've got this all done. Now I think I'm going to go and dry it, and then I'm going to use like a spatula to add my texture, what do you call it, the crackle paste. 1 minute. That's quite dry. It's not completely dry. I mean, it's because it's fabric and it's got glue and the paint on it, but I think that's okay. Now the texture paste, I'm using this Ranger crackle paste. I think on the other thing I used maybe a Prima crackle paste. I can't remember. Prima Marketing. Ooh. So let's have a look. Yeah, the only thing I do know about this is you do need to let it dry naturally. No heat guns for this, so this will be part 1, and I'll come back when it's dry. Now I want some sort of thicker bits, and then just some thin bits. I don't know if you can hear that rain, but it's really pouring down outside. So some people have evacuated. I think they've closed a bridge somewhere heading into Napier, but I don't know if that's still closed. Now you're not going to be able to see all of this, but because I haven't, I'm just going to cover it all rather than try and work out where I want it. And I haven't decided whether I kind of want to continue this around to the back or whatever you call it, the other front. Joe and I, my sister, were having an argument because she made one of these as well for Junk Journal July. So she'll be working in one of these little accordion journals. And lots of people have been making them, which is so fantastic. And I've never really worked on one before. Like I said, I have made one. I made one for my December journal a few years back, but it was a bit turned out a bit skew with, like the cover kind of didn't work. I used a book for a cover. I didn't do this. So all right, I'm just going to leave it at that and hope that that crackles up beautifully. We'll just set that aside. We don't want to disturb how that sets. Now the other thing I want to do is I want some corrugated cardboard. I do have this piece, but I want a piece a little bit bigger than that. So probably, let's just get this piece here and start just peeling this off. But I'm just going to put this somewhere else so I don't keep getting mucky. I must remember that I need to choose, excuse me, I need to choose which journal before I put Junk Journal July on it, because I don't really want two Junk Journal Julys. Okay, so I'm just going to peel that layer off to reveal the lovely corrugated bit. Now I don't want any sort of straight edges, I want it to be really torn. And it's going to be the base for a photo. I'm going to use one of these beautiful photos from Tracy at Art House Whimsy. I haven't decided which one. I love this one, but I also love this one. Totally different kind of vibe to them. So I'll have a little play. So that's She Wears Flowers, I think. She Has Flowers. And I've got the other one called She Has Wings, which I'm probably going to use on the other one. So yeah, I bought that. I've seen some people use her beautiful images, and they just, yeah, they're so inspiring. Okay, so I'm just gonna tear, see what happens, see if I can get a piece I'm happy with. I don't want it to be really straight, and I don't want it to take up. Let's just use this as a sort of a idea of how big this is. So I want a kind of a rough edge there. Yep. And along the top. So let's see what happens if I tear there. And I don't want it to take up the whole of the front of the cover. So we've got that, and then I've got a few photos cut out, so let's just have a look how that, something like that will sit on there. You're not going to see much. I probably could have made that a bit wider. I think I want it a bit wider than that, so here we go, we'll use this piece. Yeah, so fun times living on the coast. Thank you everybody who did check in on me, New Zealand girls that saw it on the news. Thanks so much. I so appreciate that. That was really lovely having people checking in. And I mean, last time people were trying to get hold of us, but obviously they couldn't because there was no internet, there was no power, everything was like, I mean, they've said it's a state of emergency, but really compared to last time, this is just nothing. It's just a storm. But I think there's a sort of sense of hypervigilance now because of what happened last time. You know, people weren't warned in time and weren't told to evacuate when actually they really did need to. There was a lot more flooding, and it was to do with heavy rain and rivers breaking their banks, whereas this time it's for us it's just been coastal really. It's just that whole coastal thing happening. Okay, so I'm gonna tear this bit first. I want to get it right this time because I'm just wasting it. Again, we're using some scraps, which is good, but I was going to do the cover in the using your scraps sort of vein, but I've decided I want to do this instead. So let's have a look how wide we want it to be. I do want to see some thing at the top there. I want to see some of the stuff we've put on underneath. So there, so I might come down this way and see what we think of that shape. Yes, I think that's going to work. Okay, so that's good. Plenty of corrugated cardboard around the place, so okay, so and then what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to paint it. Am I going to paint it or put crackle paste on this? I think that might be overkill having crackle paste on this, so I'm going to paint it. Should I use gesso or I'll just use the gesso, I think, and I'm going to use the spatula to put it on because I want it to kind of look chunky. And again, this will need to dry, and so once that's dry we'll come back and we'll do the rest. Which will be no time at all for you, but depending on how long it takes to dry, might be tomorrow for me because I don't want to rush that crackle paste. I want it to have a really nice crackle about it. There we go. So that's that. So that needs to dry too, and I can use the dryer on that obviously. The other thing that I'm going to be using is this doily that's kind of really tatty and it tears really easily, so it's a little bit, maybe it's a little bit sort of broken down, so that's what I'm using too as my base. And I'm going to use some embossing, some stamping and some gold embossing powder and some inks and some cheesecloth, just so you know if you want to go and get things ready and play along with me. Totally not compulsory, of course. So yeah, let's let that dry and I'll be back very shortly. Morning, I'm back. It's the next day. I realized I probably should have done the adding of this lace yesterday, because now I'm going to have to let this dry. But anyway, here's the, I don't know if you can see the crackle. You can't really see that I've put the fabric down as much as I would have liked. See, on this one you can see around the edge. Maybe I should have left more of an edge, but that's okay. It's still looking nice and textural. So now I'm going to glue these pieces of lace down, but I do actually want to add some, I wish I'd put it on and painted it and added crackle paste, but also I want this to dry. I wanted this to dry. So anyway, this is what I'm doing. Right, so this is the next step, is I'm grabbing some glue and I'm going to glue this lace down. Just thinking how I want it. I think I'll go like that. So we're going to have it like that. There'll be a little bit of stamping coming out here and here, I think. Right, so yep, I think that'll do. Try not to spend too much time deciding. So today we've even got a little bit of blue sky. The weather remained pretty wild overnight, but definitely the high tides were, although high, because we were having really sort of king tides, although they were still high, they weren't, the actual surf wasn't as big. So we went to bed last night and we weren't too affected. Down the road a little bit, I think they evacuated a few more people just because they were a bit more low-lying and they had some concerns, but no one came knocking on our door and told us to leave, so that was good. And we wouldn't have anyway, because our house it's really high up. Even though our property goes to the sea, our actual house is high up and a long way, so we're pretty safe. And my studio was nice and safe, so for everyone who sent me messages, I so appreciate it. Yeah, it's just good that it's passed and it's over. Of course, the media made a big sort of field day of it, but that's to be expected, I guess. Right, so I've put my ripped up sort of lace down here, and yeah, and this is dry. I haven't put any crackle paste on this. I was going to, but then I thought that's a bit of overkill. I'm going to put some paint on here and some crackle paste and see how that looks. I don't know what happens when you mix the crackle paste with paint, but anyway, I don't mind. So I'm just doing this. So I went back to the doctor about my knee. I just sent her an email just because I wanted to say to her, I just wanted her to know that it was significantly more painful since the treatment. And she obviously read my email and she just said, I just really want to rule out infection. I mean, I have been feeling under the weather, but I just don't know whether that's just because of the sort of chronic pain, you know, the constant pain, which kind of messes with your head. So anyway, so we rushed out to get blood tests with 5 minutes to spare because there was a roadblock and they were saying if you leave, you're not coming back. And so basically what they were trying to do was discourage those who had left, evacuated. They were trying to discourage them from coming back, basically, because they didn't want to have to evacuate people again. So we were like, oh, we have to go and get these blood tests. Just need to rule it out because it's a long weekend. You see, this weekend we've got Friday is a holiday day. Anyway, we got there and we got let back in, which was a relief. And I had my blood test and I saw the doctor this morning. She came in on her day off, which was very kind of her. I think she was concerned. But anyway, there's no sign of infection. All is good. I don't know what's going on and I'm starting to feel like maybe, you know, it's all in my head, but anyway. So yeah. Right, so I'm going to put some more crackle paste on here. Unfortunately, that means I'm going to have to put it aside to dry again. I might even take it upstairs and maybe put it just somewhere warm because I guess that still might be all right. I'm just going to put a little bit more around the place so we've got some more sort of nice crackles happening. Yeah. So she's given me some stronger pain relief. I've got some codeine and stuff to take now, so that we'll just see if that helps. And yeah, we'll just have a wait and see and hope it improves. Okay, so that now has to dry again. I'll see you soon. Right, I'm getting impatient, but I think it is dry enough. And so this is what we have now. We have this lace and we have the crackle. Now I need my glass mat, but I'm not bringing it over because it will just, it'll be too glary. So what I'm going to do now is kind of get that grungy look. And the way I did it was I started using watercolors, but then I realized that this ink would work. So that's why you need the glass mat, because of the wet. But I'm just going to spray this. And then I've got my brush here. So then I'm just going to use this. This is quite dark actually. It's probably a little bit darker than the other one. But what happens is the ink goes in, it shows up the cracks. And you could use any colour for this. I'm just going to keep it neutral. But yeah, I've done it with the beautiful blues and aquas before and it looks so lovely. So the other colour I did use was some vintage photo. Which is slightly less, it's a different colour. So I'll put a little bit of that in. It's kind of disappearing on the crackle, I don't know why. So yeah, so there's that, just making it all a bit less white. And I know lots of it's going to be covered up, but keep you want to see the crackle after you've waited all that time for it to dry. I don't know what it looks like for you guys, but hey. So I don't know if the watercolor actually provides more color. I might just go get them and have a look. May as well experiment while we're here. Yeah, they do. They probably create more colour. Okay, I guess some people would just say, well, that just looks dirty now, but that's okay. I'm good with that. Okay, I want that on there. Now for some stamping and some embossing, I brought over this little stamp. So it's just like a honeycomb sort of background stamp. I might just move some of the stuff. And I haven't got my heat gun here, so I will be using my heat gun away from my desk. But I'm just using a clear embossing stamping pad, which is actually probably a little bit wet. And I'm going to just stamp like that. And then I'm going to put... I'm just going to sprinkle the gold. Hopefully it's not too wet from the watercolors. Didn't think about that. I'm rushing too much, you see. But yeah, no, that's okay, I think. Okay, so I'm going to go and use the heat gun on that, and then I'll come back. So we've got this little bit of gold at the top here. And if I had it, I probably would use maybe more of a bronzy colour, but I don't, so I'm not. Right, I'm going to do a little bit more down here, I think. Let's just see how that looks. Okay, I'll go and just take the gun to that. I think that's going to be enough for now. I'm going to put this on here. I need to choose my photo. So I think I'm going to use one of the flower, She Has Flowers photos. So I want to put just a piece of this sort of lace at the bottom. I know that will affect the reflection of the photograph, so I'm going to put those there, and I want this on here. So here's my other one, because as you know I've got 2 journals going on, but that I don't want them both to be, obviously have Junk Journal July written on them. So I need to decide which one I want to use. I am going to use some gauze underneath. And that will be my last layer. I feel like I've got a bit of a gap here. And I don't know if that matters or not. Okie dokie, I need to cut this. I'll just cut it there and up the side, and then I'll kind of scrunch it up underneath. There we go. So which one do we want to use? So yeah, just having a fiddle around now to see how I want it all to look-ish. If I have the flowers like that, I've got something to put, sort of connect them to, that I can actually glue them or sew them onto that the corrugated cardboard. And then I've just typed that out, and I'm just going to attach that as well, just probably with some brads, paper fasteners like that, and that's just going to go under there. Okay, so I strengthened this photo on that one a little bit with some cardstock on the back. So I think I'll do that, maybe not that heavy. Here we go, we'll just glue it onto this. I might just age it a little bit first. Just rough it up a bit. Even though I'm then going to glue it onto something else, but I don't know why I'm doing that. And then I'll just add some vintage photo ink. I mean, this journal is going to be open and closed and used a lot over this coming month, so it's going to get a hard time. So this photo is going to get quite worn, but I'm okay with that. I don't really feel like I want to protect it or anything like that. I'm okay with it getting a bit scratched and battered, because it will. I was going to put some ribbon underneath as a closure, but then I realised you can't. If you do a closure on an accordion journal, it has to go all the way around, doesn't it? Because you've got 2 open edges. So I stopped that idea. Right, and now I'm just going to cut around it with my scissors.
Just going to use a little bit more ink. So that's going to glue on there. Okay, so I might now attach this photo and the gauze to the corrugated cardboard. But yeah, it'd be good to get this video up, getting ready for Junk Journal July. I want to just try and arrange this under here so it doesn't look so sort of perfect. I think that'll be good. Lay it down. I've got gluey fingers and I don't want to touch the photo. So that's going to go down there, I think. It might not be enough glue to attach it, but it'll be a start. Yeah, no, it's going to lift. Okay, let's get some more glue on here. That's quite a lot. I'm just going to hold it down for a little while. I don't want to cover up her little gummies. This is quite appropriate for us because we've just been had mini puddles in our backyard with the floods and the rain. I might pull that up that way like that and out to the side a bit rather than up in the center like that. And let's just have a look at these flowers. What I might do is pull that out again and get some glue on it and shove it back in that little hole there where the paper has sort of come loose from around it. And then I kind of need to decide whether I'm going to sew them on. I kind of do want to put some stitches in. Something I enjoyed doing. I might use these ones because these ones are intact and I can fiddle around with those other ones after. Almost feel like I like it better that way for this one and that way for this one. I need a second opinion. Or we could just have less of a stalk for her. Yeah, maybe like that. Move it over a little bit. They're sort of even with those ones, and I don't know. I don't have any reason, but I kind of think I want to try and have them there. Okay, so I'm going to go and get a needle and some. I've loved seeing everyone getting ready for Junk Journal July. I've seen a few accordion journals being made, which is so good. Okay, so I'm just going to push it out that much, I think. I'm just going to
make a hole and come up through the back. Did I make a knot? Yes, I did. Good. And then I'm just gonna, it doesn't need to be neat. That's the great thing about something like this. It's kind of real scruffy looking, and I like that. Sorry if I'm out of view there. See, yeah, you're not really going to see. So I'm running out of cardboard now. Don't know if I want to go right through the thing, so I think I will leave it at just having the stitches down there. Pop a few more in just for fun. We need our little paper fastener things. Okay, so, whoopsie. I'm gonna go like this, and I'm gonna draw a little pencil mark. I don't know how particularly straight it's going to be, but there we go. And then I'm just going to make a hole there and there with this little tool. Just do that one first, shall I? Because the paper it's just tea-dyed paper, it's nothing strong this is going through, so I don't want to tear it. I wonder if I should almost glue that down and then stick the brads through it. Let's think about this. That's going there, is that right? Let's get this right first. This might have to move over a little bit because I want it to go through the corrugated cardboard. But we need to position our lace how we want it, and then that, and then this. Okay, yeah, that'll do. Right, some glue. Let's put some glue and glue this piece of paper down. Maybe I should have typed it, or I could have backed it onto something a bit firmer, couldn't I? Oh, too late now. Want to get it done. Want to get it done. Right. It's going to look like that, I hope. And that's going there. I can put a hole through this and put one in. What's the problem? Should be able to go through there. Yep. Oh, excuse me. Why doesn't it not want to go through? There we go. Yeah, that'll be okay. And I'll just split them at the back there now, and then this one. Put a hole in. It's not really going through much. Well, it's going through the photo, so it should be fine. Okay, and then, I mean, I could have put it through the cover, I guess. Just don't want to put that, I don't want to put the photo in the middle of the thing, so I'm just moving it over slightly to the right. And I'm thinking, do I want to use the stapler before it's too late? And yes, I do. I want a couple of rusty staples in here, see what that looks like. Okay, I think it's just gonna have to be mostly glue, and then I can glue these down as well, and I'll just have to put something on it to sort of flatten it down. So let's just do it, shall we? So it's always satisfying to use some packaging and recycle something. That's quite a lot of glue, but I think that'll be good. Right. There. Yep. So something heavy needs to sort of sit on here, and then I'm just wondering if I do so right through here to hold these down. Impossible. There we go, there's one. So there's the first one. Won't need many. And I'll just tie a knot. Yeah, so it's just going to need a little bit of sort of pushing down. So I might as well just do that. It's got lots of muck on it. And then the back, or the other cover, whatever you want to call it. I'm kind of thinking, I've put some crackle paste on. I think I might just carry it on sort of similar to what I've done, but maybe not with a photo or anything, just some sort of grungy crackle paste and some fabric. So I won't be able to sew this now because it's very wet. And yeah, it's going to need something heavy put on it. So that is that. That's really all I can do. That is going to be my cover. It's quite heavy. It's going to hold it nice and flat. But yeah, I'm going to put something on it and let it dry. And then, yeah, I might just be back briefly tomorrow to show you what it looks like, and then the video can go up and you can play along with me, hopefully. Well, here is the finished article. I haven't put it through the sewing machine because it's really I think it will just break my needles. So I haven't done anything else except for what you saw before, but now it's dried. You know, it's a little bit curved, but it's well stuck down. I'm really happy with it. I love how it turned out. And then obviously I've got my other one, which is the wings, and I actually think that possibly I will put my wee girl here on the back of this one. Yes, I think I will. So I've got the two like that. I haven't actually glued this one down because I haven't decided what I want to put in this plate. I'll probably just put some random word in there, like create or journal or something like that, and then this one will be finished as well. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. I really appreciate it. And if you enjoyed the video or found it helpful in any way, I'd really appreciate a thumbs up, or if you would subscribe, that would be awesome as well. I wish you all well and a happy weekend, and I'll see you again soon in the next video. Thanks. Bye.